What about now? Can you hear me now? Can you confirm that you can hear me now? Lauren, you're here. Hi. Okay, hold on. Can you all hear me now? Because I just turned I think I had my sound off. Now you can hear me. Awesome. Oh, that whole time I was talking, y'all couldn't even hear me. But I'm glad to see. So my Noor is here in the chat. Lauren is here in the chat. I'll be doing both of their resumes tonight. So I'm glad to see you all could make it. Thank you so much for making it. Um, Thank you, my time to shine, for being here. Um, So the order in which I'm gonna go, just so that you know, Manur, I am starting with yours. Then Katira, I don't see her in the chat, but she submitted hers, so I'm gonna do her second. And then Lauren, I will do yours because I just want to make sure I go in the order. Um, but since you all are here, I just try to spend a little bit more time on yours. Yeah. And if Katira, if you do come on, let me know if you're in the chat so that I can go over yours too. But I'm going to, just so you know, so if Manora and Lauren and My Time to Shine, if you weren't on here before, what I do is that I actually show the resume on the screen. And now that I say that, I'm realizing that I did not blank out the I did not blank out the names. Well, let me say this, not the names, the personal information. So let me take a quick second to do that because I do not want to share your personal information. So I am going to retract that right now. Give me one quick second. To retract your information because I don't want anybody. I do show your names, but I don't show your um, personal information. So I forgot to take it out, but I'm doing it now. And let me exit out of that and bring it back up. Make sure it did it. Yep. All right. Give me one second while I retract everybody's personal information. Minor, where in Lauren, I know who My Time to Shine is. Where are you all watching from? Because I was not expecting. Let me see. Where are you watching from? Let me know while I do this quick redaction. I didn't even know initially that Adobe had a redaction thing, but I'm glad because it works out for exactly what I want. Because when you redact it and you close it and you open it back up, it's there. Lauren, you're in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm just below you in South Carolina. Minor, you are in Pakistan. I wasn't sure if you were in the States or if you were in Pakistan. I am so happy that you could jump on. Oh my God, it's like my first like international viewer. I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started now that I have redacted all of your information. I am going to share my screen, so I'm going to be small on the screen. Um, please put your questions and stuff in the chat, and I will look at them periodically. Like I said, I have to look up to see the chat. So, Manur, we are starting with you. And please let me know, confirm that you can see it because it says it's sharing. All right, so, Okay, I saw it pop up. So this is what I'm gonna give you is my first impressions, and then I'm gonna tell you how I think you should improve it. So manure, and this is what I've been seeing a lot with the resumes that I've been getting. All of you have your names really small on your resumes, and I'm always just surprised by that. Like, make your names really big. And the reason you want to do that is not just, because it looks good, but you have to think about that they're seeing, like, people are seeing resumes 50, 75, 100, 150 resumes. You want something to catch their attention. And because resumes aren't the place for you to put a bunch of color and a bunch of different fonts, you have to do something to kind of catch their attention. So a larger name will stand out. So my first thing is to tell you to make that bigger. Now, I do like that you have one page. Everybody knows that I am a one page resume person. You should be able to put all of your information on one page unless you have been working 10 plus years. And even then you might be able to fit it on there. So I'm glad that you got it to the one page. Initially, when I saw it, I said, oh wow, this is a lot to read. You don't have a lot of white space in your resume. And that can like turn off somebody initially when they see it because it's like, oh, this is kind of, now I have to like really focus in. And I just watched um one early talent recruiter talking to another HR person, and he said if there is a lot going on the page or if it's hard to read, they're just gonna push it to the side. He said they're taking less than 7 seconds to review your resume. So if in 7 seconds I can't grab what I need, then they're gonna move it to the side. So you want to make it easy to read, which means putting more white space in there, which means you're gonna have to use less words. Okay. So first, so let's start at the top. So you have your education here. Um, because the courses I like that, you have your education. You don't need to put how long you were in school, like from September 21 to June 2025. Just put the last date, so June 2025, when you got your degree. But we don't need to know the start date. They don't need to know how long we've been in college because some of us are going to take longer to go through college than others. And unfortunately, some people will judge that. So just put the date, the final date that you got your resume. Now, um, I do like that you use the blue here just to kind of break it up a little bit. I would keep that. For your courses, since you are a computer science major, these courses, when I first read them, I was like, well, I would assume that most computer science students took them. So I didn't necessarily see the value in you listing the courses here. So in my opinion, I would probably just take them out just to give you some more space, some more white space. Okay. Now, I will say this. When I started looking at your experience, first of all, my business is Aspire to Intern. So when I saw information security intern, cybersecurity intern, I was really excited. This is what I love to see with newly graduated students who are in college, that you have actually had some real world, real career experience. So love that you have your internships listed there. As I was reading through your bullets, and I won't read through each one of them, but I will start with this one because this one is an example of essentially how you have the other ones written. So, lead in ISO, and I won't say the rest of it because honestly, I know nothing about computer science. That doesn't matter though. You can still write your resume and make it clear. But led the iOS compliance project, participated in the PCI DS Focus at a similar bank, reducing security gaps by 25% through risk assessment. Now, you should always lead with the impact if you can. What do I mean by that? Instead of you saying at the end of your bullet point that you reduce security gaps by 25% through risk assessments, I would flip that bullet point and I would say, my bullet point would start with reduce security gaps by 25% by leading an iOS compliance project and implementation of XYZ. Does that make sense? Put it in the chat, Manur. Let me know, or anybody, just let me know if that makes sense. Put a one in the chat, a thumbs up, something, and let me know that you understand what I'm saying by that. Same thing here. For this second, I'll explain it again. This bullet point says created and maintained a compliance documentation and reports, reducing audit preparation time by 20%. Instead of saying that you created and maintained first, say that you reduced the audit preparation time by 20% by creating and maintaining compliance documentation and reports. Okay? Make sense? Okay, Manora, so you say, yeah, got it. Okay. I want you to do that for all of your bullet points. For everybody who is on here, if you have data, like Manur has data, and this is absolutely amazing that you have data and you have numbers, lead with the data first and then tell what you did. So lead with your impact and then the how I did it. Impact, how I did it versus how I got to this impact. Because again, if somebody is reading your resume, they're going to start at that beginning part of that sentence and you want to grab them immediately. Reduce security gaps, that's going to catch my attention. Reduced audit time, that's going to catch my attention versus led. Okay, you led, but what was the outcome? That's the main thing. Okay. So Manur, for all of your bullet points, I am going to tell you to flip that. Okay. Um, let me see. Let me check your dates and stuff. Completed training and fundamentals, big brownies. There was one more thing. Okay. Vulnerabilities carried out, assessments, developed. Okay. Participated as the youngest training. I love this bullet point. This means something. Like and I want people to understand that being the youngest, being the first, being a junior level something among senior level people, those things are important. Like, and those are the type of things that you want to highlight because it kind of shows you how you stand out among like everyone else around you. Because again, your resume should not just be telling you what you did, but how well you did it, how much better you're able to get results or produce results than the next person who is applying. So I like that you do this. A lot of people may not list that, but I do. I've listed that on my resume before where I've said, I was the only junior level employee to work on a multi-million dollar project, or I was the only junior level employee to serve as the acting chief in the absence of that. So those type of things, yes, add them. Love that bullet point. Took parts in networking, facilitated weekly development and security breach. Love the use of the numbers across three training domains. All right, so the only thing I would say, Anwar, too, is because you are lacking some of the white space, try to make it a little more, make some of your bullet points a little more succinct. Okay. Now this project section, I wasn't sure, like I saw somebody else had this project section. And I don't know if that's something like that's like the college students are doing or the career centers are telling you to do, but I mean it's fine. I don't know if these projects, Manu, are these projects like from school in like in while you're in your education, or are they part of like work? Because I see like Google, Australia Banking Group, MasterCard. um because if they are like work experiences, then I would just put them under experience. I wouldn't put them as special projects. But if you are capstone projects, okay, my time to shine. Tell me what the capstone projects are. But either way, I like the numbers used. Yeah, two of them are from school. If two are from school and others are from work experiences, I would take the work experiences one and just move it up under the work experiences. Because they're pretty significant, like this, reducing susceptibility, like those type of things will stand out. So I would move them under experience if some of them their work. If they were school, then I would leave them under projects. I would also put special projects or like my to shine is staying in the thing. Maybe put capstone projects or something because just give it a little a little extra. That's what we're doing when we're writing resumes. We're sprinkling a little seasoning on stuff, right? Because there, we know we can use like basic words to do things, but when you're doing your resume, you want to season it a little bit, right? Use those action verbs, use those things that, give you a little bit more of a feeling, right? You're trying to invoke a feeling, you're trying to impress. So say special projects or capstone projects. Um, this leadership and achievement section, right? So once I started reading it, I was like, why isn't this at the top? Led a team of 15 admins. Like you're a new graduate student and you're leading a team of 15 people. That's pretty significant, right? Increased engagement by 60%. That's so what I would do, and this is what I said on my last live. If you have major achievements, right, for your field, I would lead with those. So I have written, um, when I have clients that have these major achievements, I will create a key achievement section, right? Like under the education or right before I even talk about their work. If they're like, have been working for some time, I'll do that. Okay. So consider moving this to the top. And I wouldn't necessarily say leadership. I would just say key achievements and move it to the top. But then also try to, I also often use columns too, just to make sure that it kind of saves me some space instead of going across the page. Because again, we need more white space with yours. For your certification and skills, again, I don't work in the computer science sector, so I don't know if these things need to be listed. You can tell me, but otherwise, if they do need to be listed, I would try to use columns again instead of just having them one under the other, just to give you some more space because your resume is well written, your bullet points are well written outside of the thing that I told you to do, but you need more space because it is a little jumbled. So Manora, tell me if you have any questions um in the chat before I move to Kateria's. And I will actually, I'll just wait for you to put in the chat and then while I pull up the next one. But Manora, let me know if you have any questions about anything that I said. Overall, this is like their bullet points are great. Your data, use of data is great. I would just make it a bit easier to read because you don't want, again, you don't want to turn that recruiter off by just a bunch of words on the page coming at them. Okay. All right. So I am going to exit out of that, out of yours. And Manora, wait, I know that there's a little lag for me with the chat, but I'm going to stop sharing so that I can pull up my next one. And actually, you know what? Is Kateria in here? If she's not, then Lauren, I'll do yours next. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to prioritize who is here because I don't want you to have to wait. Okay, understood. I'll try to make all them presentations. Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna do a little switcheroo because Lauren is here, and the next person I'll do them last because I don't see them in the chat. And so I want to make sure the people who are here get the bulk of what's happening. And not to say that that's, being shady or anything, but people show up, you gotta, serve the people who are here. Okay. All right. So Lauren, I am going to pull yours up. and share it. Give me a second to share it. Because we are at 6:23. And I don't want to go over time like I did the last time. Oops. Yes. Can everybody see that? I'm trying to make it bigger so we can see. All right, so hopefully you all can see that clearly. Lauren, again, you all's names are so small on your resume. Why are your names so small? Why are you doing that? All right, make the name bigger, okay? Like, this is not the time to be modest. And so I know, like, well, some of us have been taught to be really humble and really, just kind of let our work speak for ourselves. When it comes to resumes, interviews, cover letters, that is not what we are doing. We are tooting our horn loudly everywhere about everything. This is the only time that is, well, not only, but one of the main times that you can brag on yourself. Show up big, right? Take up space, literally with your name. Take up space. Okay. So I am going to challenge you to make it bigger. Okay. Now, education, you have your University of Chapel Hill BA in journalism. You have your graduation date. So Lauren, you are a senior going into your senior year. Congratulations. Um, I like that you put that you're a scholar and an honors student. Great, awesome. Now I would, and this is too with my Norris too. You all didn't section off your resume, and that kind of makes everything kind of run together because it took me a minute to realize, oh, like, oh, that's education. Oh, now she's starting her experience. You can use things like lines, little small boxes, something to create sections. Having sections in your resume also makes it easier to read, right? So I would say put a line here or something, or even if you underline experience or capitalize it so that I'll know, oh, this is the heading. This is a different heading from the first one. Okay, because right now your headings like education, experience, they look just like the information that you're putting in there. So they didn't initially stand out to me as, oh, now she's talking about her experience. Now she's talking about her education. So I would probably say capitalize education, capitalize experience. Don't just, I would put relevant experience or work experience or professional experience. Just don't put experience because, again, we're adding a little seasoning, right? But make it in capital letters or change the font, okay? Oh, hold on one question. I have a question. Omega will reducing the text size without helping in creating more white space. Should I reduce it? Taking a quick second to answer this question. Should I reduce the size? What the full size? So, and this is for everybody. So, Lauren, you can benefit from this too. When it comes to text size, I try not to go below an 11-point font for my like main writing. So now if I'm doing like a page number, I don't see you all only have one page. Page numbers, I'll get down to an 8 or a 9, but when I'm doing text writing, I'm trying not to go beyond 11 points. So if you're already at 11 point, you I wouldn't take it down to a 10 to add more space. However, based on your font type, some 10 points look smaller and take up less space than others. Um, For instance, like an Arial will take up more space than a Garamond, or a Calibri will take up less space than like a Times New Roman, if I remember correctly. And those are coming to mind because I use Garamond and Calibri a lot because I like those fonts. A Verdana takes up too much space. I won't even use it unless I'm using it for a heading or something, or if I have someone doesn't have a lot of information on there. So text size is important. I wouldn't go less than 11-point font because you all have, young eyes. You're, but you are sending these to people like me who are getting up in age and we can't see. So if we're having to struggle to see the text, then it's going to be difficult. So don't go below 11 point. You can make now, so Lauren, going back to you, you can make these a little bigger if you wanted to move them to like a 12 point. I don't know exactly. I didn't check to see what size font you had here, but you can make your headings bigger, like a 12 point or a 14, depending on the style, how much space you have. All right. So, Lauren, let's get into your bullet points. So, you have a business or an organization. Awesome. And you put that you're a founder. I like to use the word founder. I don't like to use CEO or whatever because founder just sounds like you may not be as involved. And sometimes that could work in your favor or it can't work. Some employers like the fact that their employees have, other things going on. Some don't. So, but I like the use of the word founder. That's what I use for mine when I put my business on there too. So founded a company empowering women. And so I wouldn't say, well, founded a community, you could just say, well, that's founded a community is fine. Empowering 300 women through monthly professional development and social events, forge partnerships with pop. Love this. Name drop again. This is the time to show off what you are doing. So I love the name drop. Produce Instagram content using Canva, yielding. So awesome use of numbers. Especially because I did see that you are, and here comes the sun. So I'm gonna have a glare. But you are wanting to go into marketing and social media marketing. So this is awesome. Great way to use your numbers. Again, you were another one, internship, internship, internship. Absolutely love it. If you are on here or you're rewatching this as a student, you should be having an internship every summer or spring semester or whatever it is because you see this, you will have a full resume. Intern. Aspires to intern is telling you to intern. Okay. JP Morgan Chase, Chase Leadership Development, intern, utilize large language models, revamp internal reporting by creating SharePoint. I like that you used the type of software that you use in the bullet point because it tells us how that you know how to use it or how you've used it. Okay, so I great use of putting in the thing that you have been working with instead of, and I see you did list it down at the bottom too, but I like to see it up here too because that tells me how you've used it. Okay. Um, event coordinator, manage 10 students. So Minora and Lauren, you all have been on it with these numbers. I love these numbers. Led a 30-person entrepreneurship program. That's amazing. Partner with community leaders to provide networking opportunities. Look at this. Look at this. You know how I feel about key achievement sections. But if you are trying to get a social media marketing job, this is one of the first things that I'm assuming a hiring manager in social media would want to see. So I'm almost inclined to tell you to create a key achievements for yourself, a section for yourself, and pull out some of these major numbers, like these big numbers, because that's nothing to like shake a stick at. Like that's pretty substantial. Streamline lead generation through Apollo implementation, optimize outreach systems, maintain social media content for 20 franchise locations. That's amazing. Again, Lauren, you may want to create a key achievement section. You have some very strong bullet points. Just telling you this one, this one, pitched in traffic influence campaign for Snoop Dogg, Five Guys. Pretty substantial. I would create a key achievement section, okay? Um, Let me look. Research sustainable leadership. Okay, so your bullet points are really well written. Again, like I said, I may use take some of those and just put them at the top for key achievements. Um, for your leadership and service section, UNC Senior Class Chief Marshal. This doesn't really tell me exactly what you did. So I think I would either, I would either want to see more here. Like, tell me more about what you did there. Like, were you event planning for the whole senior class? Were you doing, like, when you say internal communications, were you writing like a newsletter or something, or like a blog or something? Who are you reaching out? Like, I would want to maybe hear a little bit more about that. Um, the rest I think are okay. Again, I would for your leadership service and your skills section, I would try to make these columns. Because I don't know if we need the dates for these. I don't think we need the dates for these. Um, or if you do, I would maybe just put like 2025, 2020, or 20, or like, because all of them are, you're still doing all of them. So I don't know if we need the dates for these. And that's just because I'm trying to make it a little more readable, like easy to read. Um, with these, again, like I said, with skills, I like to see like where you've used them. And you've already listed kind of like that you've used them. It really is a kind of like a, what's the word? A preference, right? Some people like to see skills listed out. I'm more of like, show me here where you saw it. But again, if they're only taking a little bit of time, they may want to. So I'm not telling you to take these out. I like that you've put them in a line so that they're not taking up a lot of space. But I would maybe like put this section into columns and then get rid of the dates on them just to give you some more space. Um, I also, and I can't remember what manures look like, but I also like to use abbreviations of the month and just because again, you want as few words as possible. You don't want anything to distract. And actually, when you look at a page, everything is distracting. Lauren, I will say that when I looked at your resume initially, it didn't like catch my eye. I want you to think about how you can make it a little more like pop a little bit more. I would probably change the font to something a little more edgy than just the Times New Roman. Again, I would probably use some sections or some lines to break it up. Um, maybe change the bullet point to like a square or something, something that make it stand out a little bit because you have some great information in here. It's just that when I first saw it, it didn't catch me, right? I'm looking at it because I'm reviewing it, but if it's just in a pile, there's nothing that's going to make me just grab yours, okay? So, and like I said, I was just watching a clip of somebody who does early career recruitment, recruiting early talent, and he said that all of the resumes are starting to look alike. So that means that you need something to have yours look different. So maybe use some boxes, use some gray tones along with the black, something to just make it stand out. But your bullet points are very well written. Again, I would possibly would use a key achievement section since you have about three very strong bullets that I would probably just pull out and put it at the top. Again, use your columns here, and I think you'll be fine. I think you have a really strong resume in terms of what you want to do. Um, all right, so let me check the chat real quick. Of course, they should show values of pressure often associated with school. Okay. Um, I have okay, I did that one about the text size. We'll putting horizontal lines against each heading help in creating effective yes, again, like yeah, using these sections. Yes. using lines. I love to use lines. Sometimes I'll use boxes where I'll put the heading in the box. And if you want to go back and watch the first live that I did, a good example of that was Destiny Ferguson's. I think that was her last name. Destiny Ferguson's resume. She had used boxes to section off her resume too. Lauren, you're welcome. If you have any questions, DJ Evolution. Hello, hello, hello. Um, Lauren, before I move on to the next one, do you have any questions? And I'm gonna give you a second because I need to close these blinds to get this sun out of my face because I'm not gonna be able to do what I need to do with the sun in my face. Sorry. Give me a second. Now I know better. All right. I am well, DJ Evolution. How are you? Okay. Lauren said, I read somewhere that lines boxes can disrupt the ATS reading, more companies that use that tech. Okay. Well, so the ATS. The ATS does not really like graphics, but for when I think about graphics, and a line is a graphic, a box is a graphic. Um, but the line should, I don't, and it could be, the lines may impact the ATS, but I've been using lines in mine. I use them in my other, clients' resumes. I don't know. Um, and that's the thing with the ATS. Everybody is using, like, may use a different system. You don't know which ones, like, what's gonna make one trip, which one doesn't make it one trip. That's another reason why I don't use column type resumes, like how you and Manora's is just like one page, there's no columns, like something on this side or something, because I know that definitely trips the ATS. It may, but so if you're feeling like if you don't feel comfortable putting lines in there, again, I would just change your font sizes just to break it up some. Okay. Or like move them to the middle instead of having everything on one side, like the experience and the education on like left, or is that right? Left justified, right justified. Put it in the center just so so they can or know that, okay, this is the next section. So if you are feeling uncomfortable about using lines, change the font sizes, types from small to caps, whatever, to give you that break. But you need something to break it up because when I first saw this, I was like, oh, this is even though there's a lot of white space, it took me a minute to realize, oh, this is now she's talking about her experience. And now, okay, we're moving on to the next section. So I get I appreciate that. Yeah, that ATS, I don't we're unfortunately in a everything's tech now. So we do have to be mindful of the ATS, the applicant tracking systems. Thank you for supporting. Yes, thank you, my time to shine. Because I forgot. Italics. That's another way to create um transition in your resume. The use of italics. I use italics sometimes. Actually use it pretty much. But bold, italics, underlines, all of those things will help break up some of the monotony of just words, 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 so that it'll give people's eyes a time to adjust to something different. So yes, thank you, my son to shine. Yes, using italics is another way to break things up. All right, so that's it. Any more, Lauren, if you don't have anything, other questions, of course, but if you do, you can always put them in the chat. But we are at 6:42, so I am going to move on to this last one. So let me stop sharing. And if you are on here, and because I haven't seen everybody, because I see there's 7 people watching, but I only see 4 people. So who's the other 3 people watching? I need to see y'all in the chat. But I appreciate all of you for jumping on. We are going to get into this very last resume. So give me a chance to share. Yeah, I have to make my screen big in order to share it, so that's why it takes me a minute to share. All right. I don't know if Kateria Brown is on, but if not, she will see it when she watches it again, hopefully. All right. Again. Ooh, I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, there we go. All right, so Kateria, first thing, you have one page and a peep. Like my mom said, you got a peep. We don't need that second page. We just need to adjust some things so we could get it down to one page because we don't need that one page and a peep. All right. Now, first thing again, name is Sloan, but we already talked about that, so I won't go with that again. I will say this one was very visually appealing. I think it's the font. I don't know what font this is. Kateria, if you watch this, when you watch this, please put in a comment somewhere what font this is because I really like this font. It's very clean and it looks like it doesn't take up a lot of space. And if we are trying to make sure that we got white space, we want to use a font that's going to give us not take up a lot of space, but also be easy to read. Love the font. All right, so we have a bachelor in science. So she just graduated in May. Congratulations. From FIS, Nashville, summa cum laude. Love it. Awards listed, relevant coursework, marketing analysis, business communications. So I remember listing my relevant coursework when I was in college. What I think I listed though were classes that, and I'm gonna have to go back and check, weren't assumed that I would take. So if I was a marketing like environmental science major, I wouldn't say that I took environmental science because I'm an environmental science major. I would probably put something like I took genetics or toxicology because now you can kind of see a range of the information that I know, but I don't know. But I mean, this doesn't hurt. But again, I wouldn't list so many because again, you're taking up space, and with this little one peep of page here, you don't need that. So list maybe the first four, 3 to 4 major courses that are relevant, and then don't worry about listing everything else. Okay. And apparently you like because you bolded some. So if those are the ones that you're thinking important, but you're a marketing major, so you're a business major with marketing concentration. Sorry. I wouldn't list marketing because if you have a marketing concentration, I'm going to assume you took marketing. I would probably leave like entrepreneur development or applied statistics or something else. So Kateria is showing a good way to break up the kind of monotony of the resume. See how she used the capital letters here and then the smaller that just capitalizing helps to helps to like focus sections. So that's a good way to do it. Skills, you have your certifications. Sometimes I like to use move skills to the bottom. It really just depends on the recruiter. So because Lauren, you had yours at the bottom, Kateria, you have yours at the top. I don't think it matters. Um, unless they are, it depends on the recruiter if they like to see the skills at the top or at the bottom. To me, I'd rather see achievements if you have some, but that's just my preference. And that's the thing with resumes. Let me say this. Uh, Unfortunately, I mean, you have your basic resume expectations, right? Good grammar, good punctuation, use of data, use of your strong action verbs, making sure things are on one page, not using a lot of color. You have your basic resume expectations. But at the end of the day, it really depends on like that recruiter or that system, what they like and what they don't like. It's almost like interviewing because I've sat on interview panels too, and I've heard someone say like in the interviewee say something, and then when I go confer with my team, the thing that I loved that the person said, they hated it. And I was like, what? But so unfortunately, when it comes to hiring, a lot of it is subjective. So we, kind of are doing what we think is right, of course, like I said, but like moving skills here to here, it really just depends on who's going to look at it. So you can decide which you are most comfortable with. Okay. What studying? Are you saying you're working on a certification? Because I wouldn't say studying, I would put in progress. If you're work, because studying is a little, I'm not sure what that means. But if you're working on the certification, I would put in progress right here. All right, experience. Again, put work experience, relevant experience, professional experience, something. Um, Cookout cashier, Coca-Cola consolidated extern. Oh, okay. Okay. So I see what you did here. So you have put the company and the position together. That I'm not necessarily a fan of that. I would at least put like a comma or something so that I know the company is Cookout and you were a cashier or journalist. I mean, it makes sense, but I don't really care for that because usually you want like who do the business and then your role in the business. Okay. So I would tell you to move this either below Cookout or like put a comma or put some type of things to section it off. And then I would change the font. Like I wouldn't have both bold just so that we could break it up. But that's my preference. Also September 23rd to May 2025. Okay. All right. June 20. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. Manage 150 daily customers, ensuring order accuracy, time. Okay. Processed. Cash PCOS, collaborative kitchen front team to maintain, contributing to. Again, the same thing like I told my Nora, contributing peak sales of 3,000 per hour and the location status as Nashville's highest grossing cookout. Make this the first bullet. Or, well, lead with this, contributed to by collaborating with Kitchen and Front. But I would move this up. If this is not the first bullet, I would at least make it the second bullet. Okay. Lead with the pop first, okay? Don't put your most important bullet down to the bottom. Also, when I am doing my own resume, depending on the job that I am applying for and what they say is important in the description, I may move my bullet points around because at the be, somebody may want me to have more experience like training, and some people may want me to have more experience like in public relations or whatever it is. If I have bullet points for both of those, depending on what the description says, I'll sometimes move where my bullets are. But because you always want to lead with the bullet that's going to catch the attention of the recruiter. So I would move this up to the second one or the first one. Okay. And then I also noticed that you have cookout here spelled with cookout, and then this one is cookout. Just something that I caught because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But make sure you can keep it consistent how you're using it. Um, I would also, you may be able to minimize, like shorten some of these bullet points because you're on that second page, and I don't want you to be on the second page. I'm also going to tell you that these little marks, and I think the marks are fine. You don't have to use bullet points. But you do need to move them back. That's going to give you more space so your sentence doesn't necessarily go to the second line. So if you have bullet points and you do not have enough space, make sure you're moving them as far left as you can. Okay, just to get everything you need, everything to give you more space. So, Kateria, move these back so you can have more space so you can get this little last three sentences off of the second page. All right. Collaborated in three-person teams to conduct market research using surveys. to uncover trends. I would also, yeah, design presented a strategic canvas to consolidated executive board. Okay. All right, these are fine. They are kind of long because they're going like three. And again, this may just be because of where you have them positioned, but I would maybe try to shorten them or create um split them into a different bullet point because these are the bullets themselves are a little long. Okay. Journey sales associate, utilize retail pro POS system to process transaction and manage inventory consistently exceeding daily sale targets. Again, lead with the pop. If you exceeded daily sales targets, put that first. We know you know how to use the POS system because you're a sales associate. So you have to learn how to use the POS system. But what did you do? What was the outcome? So lead with this. Start here. This part is the beginning of your sentence. Build strong customer relationships and collaborated with team members to ensure efficient store operations during peak hours. Okay. You don't need to say all of this during peak hours. Again, try to say the most impact in the shortest way. So during peak hours, that's not necessarily important, but you do want to say that you had a high customer satisfaction. Okay, again, this is projects, and that's why I said I don't know if like the colleges are, saying to have projects, but a project section, and that's fine. I mean, unlocking insights, consumer perspectives. Kateria, I don't know if you noticed, but this date has been moved. All the rest of the dates are on the right. So you just want to move this one back over. Conductive qualitative research and interviews with 10 women. You don't have to put the ages in. And then again, I would lead guided product development and marketing strategies for women's health brand Happy Sneeze by conducting qualitative research. Because this Happy Sneeze, I'm not familiar with them, but the fact that you work with a company and that you're doing product development and marketing strategies for them, you should put that first. Okay, delivered a strategic presentation on the movie framework. I like, again, selling what you use, highlighting key strengths and product preferences. Okay. Um, leadership and professional development. Delta Chi Iota president. Okay, led chapter governance by presiding, supervising 9 executive board members and 7. So honestly, I probably because this is, I mean, the fact that you are a president, like you're leading an organization, to me is pretty substantial. It tells me that you have strong leadership skills. I would probably move this section above the projects because again, if I'm thinking about it from an employer standpoint and somebody who's in their early career, I want to know like how that you do have leadership experience, that you like directed and planned 20 plus events. Like that's pretty substantial, even though it's in under a like volunteer, I guess you would say, situation. Um, I am inclined to have you move these to your experience. What y'all think in the chat? What do you think? Because I mean, leading an organization where you are overseeing, and granted, it doesn't matter if they are students, you are in charge of making sure everything is running properly. Even though I'm not sure there's somebody there to supervise you, you are the one. So I am more inclined to have you move these to your experience. And they're more recent than you being at Journeys. But you all tell me, what do you all think about? Because I think these bullet points are pretty strong. Served as a critical liaison between the advisory, regional, and national. You know how many jobs look for people who are just like liaisons who can be able to engage across. Yeah. My scientist says she agrees. Yeah, I would move this. All right, so we are at, and let me see this little peep. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to catch it. Okay, there we go. Facilitated student engagement in hands-on projects with real companies through Paragon One, acting as liaison. Yeah, yeah, Katira, go ahead and go ahead and move these to above your special projects. And if you are running out of space, I don't know if you could just use the one bullet point or like mesh the two bullet points for the special projects into one to give you more space. But your leadership and professional development bullet points are pretty strong. So I would leave with those. I would put those under your relevant experience. And that's why you say relevant experience. Doesn't necessarily say work experience, but it's relevant. It's relevant that I've led an organization. It's relevant that I've served as a liaison for national on a national level. Those things are relevant to me being a great employee. Okay. So we are at 6:59. Do we have any more questions in the chat before we wrap up? Because I am going to end today. Thank you, everybody who came on. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all of your questions. Manur and Lauren, I will be following up with you with a survey. I usually send it maybe like a week after just to see how, if you've been able to apply any of the changes. DJ Evolution, thank you so much. Um, Yeah, the categories because people need to read. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for being in the chat. My time to shine. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Um, any final questions, any words before I hop off? Because, like I said, I'm going to end on time today. But I appreciate you all being here. I still have how many more people? I think four more people who have submitted resumes. So I'll definitely be on again next week, same time, same place, same channel. Feel free to share this. In fact, I would love if you all shared my lives. Let everybody know on social media how it went. Tag me in it, Megan Singleton on LinkedIn, Aspire to Intern on Instagram. Um, what else am I missing before I log off? I think that's all. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video too. I'm going to create some shorts. Make sure you like the shorts because usually there's a little gem or something I drop that I can turn into a short. So I usually turn these into some shorts. But also let me know, like, email me, hit me up on LinkedIn, Instagram. Just let me know how I can improve it, whatever you do, because we want to get more people on. We want more students on because everybody needs to, like, getting that resume right. Thank you all. If that is it, I am going to stop sharing my screen. And again, I appreciate every last one of you for being on. Share, share, share. Let everybody know Aspire to Intern is doing live free resume reviews for college students and recent graduates. Like I said, I have four more that I need to do, so I'll definitely be on next week at the same time. Please join me if you can. Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. And I will it's 7:02. So I'm gonna be out. Talk to y'all next time.